You guys, I finally did it. I did it. Let's open these boxes. What is up, guys? BJ Kicks here. I buy comics, I read them, and I review them, all for your viewing pleasure. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. This channel is about comics, and if you love them, you should subscribe. Now, I just got to get right into it. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Milestone Media. Over the last 3 years now that I've been in comics, there's not been one single thing that kind of made me a comics fan as much as my discovery of Milestone Media. So growing up, I knew the cartoon Static Shock. I watched it every Saturday on Kids WB while I was at my cousin's house. It was always fun. It was great. And at that time, I had no idea that Static was a comic book. I didn't even know comics were a thing, really. But anyway, that's besides the point. So kind of discovering later on that Static was a comic and that there wasn't just Static, there's this whole world around Static, made me curious. And so the first book that I bought actually was not Static, because Static seemed kind of expensive. I actually bought a few issues of Icon first. I read the first few issues of Icon. I was like, yo, this is dope. And then I went and bought Static on eBay, and I read that and just fell in love. Like, you guys know, it's like, there's also, and I've said this before, but a lot of times you'll read a book, and maybe it's a Batman book or a Spider-Man book, and what you'll get from it is, man, this writer really knows the character. I love how he portrays Batman. It's all the things I love about Batman, right? Well, reading a lot of the Milestone comics for the first time, it felt like the writer knew me, like, in my sensibilities. It was the first time seeing like Black characters in comics that reminded me of Black people that I knew, and they weren't just like Black skin on top of characters that are vaguely familiar, you know? And so basically since 2019, late 2019, I've been on a quest to try to complete an entire run of Milestone Media comics, or at least the original 4 series. So that would be Hardware, Blood Syndicate, Icon, and Static. And I've gotten it down to one issue that I need to complete the collection. And that issue just seems like it's out of reach. Like, the price is too high. So it's like, if I don't get a good deal, if I don't just come into some extra money or both, it's not going to happen. And so I've since just been like, all right, well, while I'm waiting for this grail, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade some of the lower grade copies that I have, see if I can get better copies and maybe sell the old ones and stuff. So we got quite a few packages to open. And we're going to start with the lightest one. We're going to go from light to heavy. Why not, right? So we go ahead with this one here. Well, I should say heavy to light. That's what we're going to do. We'll start with this one, because this is a heavy box. Now this one I got to be careful with, because I can see books kind of flopping around. And man. All right. But yeah, so I don't know, man. Over time, I've become, in my opinion, one of the biggest Milestone fans ever, right? And that's such a weird claim to make. But I can say I'm at least the biggest fan on YouTube, because I don't see anybody else making videos about this stuff. And it's been a really cool experience. Like, the admins of the Milestone fan group on Facebook, like, saw my stuff and were like, hey, would you like to be a moderator? So I've gotten to know a lot of other Milestone fans, which has been awesome. I've gotten to interact with several Milestone creators. I've had Dennis Cowan on my channel. I just hosted a panel, or I didn't host a panel. I was a member of a panel discussion just earlier this week on another channel about diversity in comics. And who was featured? Dennis Cowan comes into the chat. So that was awesome. So I've had like these amazing experiences. And so at this point, my fandom for Milestone goes beyond just the books, but it's like a personal connection that I'll forever be grateful for. So that's super awesome. But anyway, this grocery bag full of comics here. Let's see what we can get inside. I don't know, man. The grocery bag method, 0 out of 10. Would not recommend. But at least these books are bagged and boarded inside. The comics being in a grocery bag reminds me of like when I was a kid. Because I got comics. I only got comics when I was in New York for the summer with my grandmother. And one of my uncle's friends would bring the comics in a Rite Aid bag. So not dissimilar from this. Very similar to that. But anyway, let's look at this haul. You guys know I'm a bit of an eBay junkie. I kind of just stay on eBay. I set my alerts, and if something comes up that looks interesting, I grab it as long as the price is right. And this was no different from that. I kind of just have my own search for DC Comics Milestone, and it sends me emails every morning. And that's how I get a lot of the stuff that I get for the prices I'm able to get it for. So this is a comic book lot featuring several Milestone issues, and several of them I already have, but there were some that I didn't have and that I was very excited to get. So let's start with the ones I don't have. This is something I was just talking about not long ago, but these are a few issues of the Static Shock New 52 comic book series. So written by Scott McDaniel with John Rosen, art by Andy Owens. This was an interesting series, to say the least. We got this weird Joker character that becomes the villain as opposed to bringing back any of Static's villains. There's just some weird choices made with this book. Anyway, this is issue number 3. We got issue number 4. Issue 5. And issue 7. Why did I buy these? Well, because it was in a lot with like 18 other books for a really low price. Like I paid $20 for everything in this box. But also, I love the covers by Kari Randolph. So if there's anything to love about the Static Shock series from 2011, it's Kari Randolph's covers. He didn't do any interiors, just the covers, but hey, no worries. So since we're talking about Static, let's get into this next little set. I do like that they put the sets in bags and boards together, because all I'm going to do is rebag all the books anyway. All right. So once again, we'll start with the book that I already have, and that is Static, issue number 6, Blow Up. Static versus Commando X. This is part 2 of the whole Commando X storyline. I think that went 3 issues, if I'm not mistaken. Really enjoyed it. Static versus like a radical Islam extremist guy. You know, like the black Muslims before, like, you know, America was all focused on terrorism. Like, but anyway, this dude is basically like bombing synagogues and other places. So in this story arc, you handle, or there's a lot of focus between like anti-black racism and then anti-Semitism, and why they're both bad by each group. So I thought this was a really well done story arc, and some really deep stuff to be in comic books, honestly. Love it. So that's Static issue 6. And then this, well, we might as well showcase this ad for the first Batman movie I ever watched, Batman Forever, with Nicole Kidman, Chris O'Donnell, Jim Carrey, Tommy Lee Jones, and Val Kilmer. But anyway, the book that we are showcasing, this is Static, issue number 25. This is a duplicate, but this is a better copy than the one I have. The copy that I have is dog-eared, but it's dog-eared all the way through. Every page is dog-eared. So when I saw this book in the whole eBay listing with everything else, this is the reason I bought this lot. I paid $20 for this lot. I paid $20 just for this issue like a year ago, and it was a worse copy of this issue. So anyway, Static 25 is actually like a more controversial issue. This cover was not the original cover. Instead, this was the original cover for Static 25. And DC was like, we're not printing this. And that made Dwayne McDuffie really mad. So there's an editorial page in here where Dwayne just straight up calls out DC editorial and is like, yo, this is racism. DC is being racist. And this book is kind of earned a reputation as like the book that eventually brought the end of Milestone. I'd argue that it was other factors that made Milestone close their doors. I mean, let's be real. The series lasted for 2 years after this issue, but you know, it's got that reputation, and it's got that story. It's all real. It's all history. So anyway, Static 25, definitely my favorite out of the group. But we still got more books to go. So let's do this. Let's get in here. All right, so now the books that are in here are a little bit more varied. So we got Long Hot Summer, issue number 1. This was the second crossover event dealing with gentrification of all things. Again, like this stuff is interesting. This stuff is super interesting to me. I really love this. I love all of this. But anyway, Long Hot Summer number 1. There were 3 issues of this, but it crossed over with books. Now, next up, we've got Hardware, issue 37. John Rosen writing on this. Same dude who was co-mentioned on the Static New 52 series, and even though his involvement was very limited. But anyway, very excited about this Hardware book. Now, let me move through this a little bit faster. We got The World Needs Heroes, issue number 3. So far, everything here, besides the New 52 Static, has been duplicates. My Name is Holocaust, first issue. This is drawn by Tommy Lee Edwards, who is actually local to North Carolina. So we share that in common. Love this a lot. And like I said, I'm trying to move through this a little bit quicker because we still got 2 more boxes to get to. So the next little set are issues of Zombie. So we got Zombie number 0, which feels kind of, yeah, there's some damage there, but it's here. Very cool. Zombie number 1. Love that issue. Love that cover, I mean. That is an awesome cover. And then let's keep going. Whoops, almost dropped it. We got Zombie issue 14 and Zombie issue 15. So out of all the Milestone books, I've been focused on the original 4 series. So I don't have a ton of Zombie issues. I have to check to see if these are duplicates or not. But that was all the contents of this one box. So funny story. Somehow I actually forgot to open some books. So let me just show you real quick. We got Zombie number 6 here. We've got Cobalt number 3. We've got Cobalt number 4 and Cobalt number 5. So again, still duplicates, but I got all of those books. All the books that you just saw, I got because Static 25 was included and it was a better copy than the one I had. So I take that as a win because I'll probably end up, selling some of these and paying for the Static and some other stuff. So super cool. Now let's get back to what you were watching. This one box. So yeah. And then let's get into the second box. All right, so that's the second box. Now let's get into the third, right? So before I do, Milestone, when they first came out, they had this tagline, right? As when they were doing all their initial promo, they had stuff like this, right? Like this button. This button says, if you're not there, you just won't get it. To which I said, challenge accepted. So I am very, very excited about this last box. You knew it was coming. You saw the title. You're like, why are you teasing? Let's do it. Let's open this up. Where's the best way to open this box? The suspense is killing me. So we got a book wrapped in newspaper. This does feel sturdy, so I think it's bagged and boarded. This thing is wrapped up like a Christmas present, dog. There's so much tape. All right. It's wrapped up in the grocery coupon section, so you need, some Stouffer's stovetop stuffing or something. Some lasagna. You got it. All right. 1 comic book board. 2 comic book boards. And finally, this is Static, issue number 45. It's here. It's got some spine ticks, but it looks great. This is the final issue of Static from 1997. March 1997 is the cover date on it, which usually means it came out like maybe a month or so before. It's a cover by Mobius. And man, sheesh. This is so exciting to have. This is in great condition. Like, it looks like it hadn't been read since the last time, or since it came out. Just feeling on the cover, I don't feel any imperfections, anything crazy. Man, next, Going Off. I always wondered, like, with the end of these Milestone books, did Milestone know that these books were ending? And no, it doesn't seem that way. Like, there are clearly a bunch of references to things that are coming next. So now that I have all of this, I'm very excited to actually read it. Now, why did I decide to collect all this? Because as you can see, this is Static 45. This was the book. This is the only book I was missing to complete my run of the original 4. So now I'm going to work on completing Zombie and Cobalt, which were the only ones of the expanded universe that I don't already have. But yeah, I've got every miniseries. I've got Death Wish. I got My Name is Holocaust. I got Wise Son, The White Wolf. I got The Long Hot Summer. I got the Worlds Collide crossover. I've got the first 10 issues of Cobalt, and I've got scattered issues of Zombie. I'm going to have to look those up to see which ones I still need. The only thing that I don't have, and I don't know if I'm going to collect this or not, is Static Shock Rebirth of the Cool, which was the series that came out when, Milestone wanted to capitalize on the success of the Static Shock animated series. And it actually does tie up some loose ends in the Static story mythos. And then after that, they did the Milestone Forever books in 2010, if I'm not mistaken. And then Dwayne McDuffie passed in 2011 and kind of everything just came to a screeching halt. It's very hard to put into words what these books mean to me. And so I just keep making videos about them. But I'm very, very excited to have put this run together. It's taken me a minute. It's taken me a lot of money. And now I'm going to worry about trying to upgrade the copies that I have. Like, for example, my issue of Hardware, or my copy of Hardware number 49, the cover is missing. Like, the cover is there, but it's detached. So I might try to upgrade to an intact copy. There are definitely some books that are like super low grade. My copy of Static #1 needs to be upgraded, for example. And I don't have any of the platinum variants. So there was a platinum variant for hardware, a platinum variant for Static. Those are books that I may like look into getting. But for me, it was important to have the full story just so that I can read it. And having these letters pages, these editorial notes, like this is the stuff. If you weren't reading this stuff, you're actually missing a lot of the character and what made Milestone so epic and so amazing. So yeah, man, this means a lot. And I'm rambling because I don't want to stop talking about it. But that's the video. That's the haul. I finally got it. I've got my grail, as they say. So how did this come to be? Basically, I came into some money. I did a search on eBay. This copy they had going for $300, and I was like, $300 is a little too rich for my blood. But I remember the best price I had seen for one of these back in the day, like around Christmas time, was $200. So I offered the seller $200 and he accepted. More than I've paid at one time for any single issue of a book, but worth it. Absolutely worth it in my opinion. For me, as long as it wasn't going to like make it so I couldn't pay the rent or feed my family, I was going to get this book eventually. And so I'm glad I was able to get it for what I think is a pretty good price. Because right now, if you're looking for this book, what you're mostly going to find are graded copies. And at the least, you're going to pay $400 for a copy that's graded. But then you can't even read it. So I'm excited. I'm excited to have this book. Now, as for what's going to happen with the rest of these books, because like I said, almost everything else in this stack was a duplicate. So I'm going to be organizing my books, and I'm going to do a whatnot sale or auction. So you'll be able to get a lot of these books at, less than going rates on eBay and stuff. I'm going to do some of them as buy it now, some of them as auction. We'll mix it up. But I'll announce the date in the days and weeks to come. But that's what's going to happen with the majority of these books, as well as a lot of the other duplicates that are in my collection as it stands, to help me recover some of the cost of these. Right. But that's what I'm going to do. So thank you so much to everyone who's been personally invested in helping me complete my Milestone collection. I had guys like Tom send me like little memorabilia items. My guy, Tim Sheeran, has traded me for books and sent me books, gifted me books like that. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone who made Milestone a thing. Thanks to Dennis Cowan for always showing love to me and my channel. And yeah, thanks to you all for watching. You guys watching these videos and sharing them with your friends and everybody that sent like super chats and all that stuff. All of that is what helps makes things like this possible, right? Because that's how I'm able to afford these things. And I really, really appreciate it. You don't know what it means to me. But that's going to do it for this video. I've been talking way too long. So I hope you saw something you liked in this video. And if not, hey, that's cool. You can always buy what you like. Just make sure you read what you buy and be nice to others, because kindness makes the world go round. Peace.